Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Richard Lewis Show. I'm Richard Lewis. The man pushing the buttons is Sam, and today I'm very excited. I've got my favorite, one of my favorite streamers, actually. I was going to say favorite female streamer, but there's no need to bring gender to the table, is there? One of my all-time favorite streamers. It is Caseytron. So we'll start off with some pleasantries. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fabulous. I've had a really great morning.
Doing anything exciting?
Drinking coffee.
Good. Yeah,
I drink a lot of coffee. My viewers know that. I'm like always drinking coffee on stream.
That's how I like to start my day as well. I generally get through a pot. I looked it up the other day because since I've been in America, I've been drinking like way more caffeinated products. You know, I'm in Atlanta, so they have sweet tea all the time, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like you're only supposed to have like 400 milligrams or micrograms or whichever one it is a day, and like that's like 4 large cups of coffee. It's like I'm way past that. And I think for a guy my size, I am flirting with potential like heart attack or something. So I'm going to try and knock it on the head, but not today. So look, let's talk about streaming. Some people obviously might not know who you are, and I very rarely do this on my shows, but I think it's important, for audiences to get a handle on who people are. So just tell me about yourself, the start of your streaming journey.
Well, I am the infamous Caseytron. I always say infamous because I feel like I'm a lot more infamous than famous, obviously. But I started streaming on Twitch, I think like almost 4 years ago, just as something to do as a hobby, and I made it into my career somehow.
Well, I mean, you say it started out as a hobby, and, I totally get that. So were you a very different streamer to what you kind of became? Because this is one of the things that I'm super interested in, because obviously you've got this reputation. Some people don't get the joke. They don't understand what you're doing. But did you start like that? Like, was it a concept? Was Caseytron a fully fleshed out idea when you first decided to become a streamer?
Whenever I first started streaming, I guess there was always the idea of like, messing around with people and trolling or whatever you want to call it. And whenever I first got into streaming, I played World of Warcraft at the time, and I had a group of friends on World of Warcraft who were just like, Casey, you should really stream. You're really funny and you're a girl, and they finally talked me into it. And I started streaming on Twitch one day, and I think my first stream, I got up to 100 viewers. I want to say it was like around 100 viewers, my first stream. And, that was like not knowing anybody. That was just like going into it, like not really knowing a thing. And whenever I first started streaming, obviously I wanted to look at like my competition, which is obviously going to be like other female streamers. And one of the things that I noticed about a lot of them is they just took themselves so seriously. And I think a lot of it is just because they wanted to be taken seriously in the industry, because it is hard to be taken seriously whenever you're a girl. And then, I get on and just no fucks given, I just want to have fun. And I think that really stood out to a lot of people versus, I don't want to say like the normal girl streamer, but I feel like especially back then, girls just really tried to be taken seriously. They didn't want to be made out to be a joke on Twitch. And there weren't as many female streamers on Twitch back then either.
Yeah, but I heard that argument all the time, back in the day when you first started. One of the reasons why, there was a lot of pushback, not from guys, actually,
from females.
Yeah, from females, like against you, right? So, I mean, understand the kind of hypocrisy here. We're talking about how we want, women to be on this even playing field. We want them to be accepted by a predominantly male community. And there you are, and you're doing well.
And I'm like destroying that.
Yeah, no, but it's the thing.
I mean, not destroying it, but going against it.
And their arguments were that basically we're actually setting women back somehow by being successful, which is
right. Right. I think like I can see where the arguments come from, but I think like for me personally, on a personal level, it just comes to, like people have different ways of feeling empowered. Like if another girl streamer feels empowered by somebody coming into their stream and being like, hey, you're a slut boob streamer, if she feels more empowered by banning them, then that's fine. If I feel more empowered by being like, No, I'm not. I'm better at games than you. You're just mad because I'm a girl who's better. If that makes me feel more empowered, then what's wrong with that? Like, what's wrong with how I want to empower myself versus how other females want to? As I think always been my kind of argument for it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I don't understand either about this whole argument about, the girl gamer thing. My good friend Sky Williams kind of stepped into this proverbial minefield. The idea of,
Sky was right.
Yeah,
no,
right.
I'm just, people still come in my chat and say that, but I love Sky. He's a good guy. He has a good heart.
Yeah, he's an amazing chap. And the idea about booby streams or whatever they want to call them. I don't see the issue if if you want to flaunt your body, if you're an attractive person, or hell, if you're an unattractive person, dress however you want to, right? And if people feel comfortable doing that, and it's within tasteful guidelines, within Twitch guidelines, I don't understand the problem. I really don't.
Like, it is really funny because a lot of the stuff that I wear on stream really isn't anything you wouldn't see, like, if you step outside at all. And, like, a lot of the time whenever I tell people, what I do, and, they'll like go, they'll just be like really interested in like the whole like cleavage thing. And they'll think that I just have like all of these like guys like coming into my stream just like enamored by my breasts, which really doesn't happen very often. Like, for every like maybe one guy that I'll have come into my chat and just say some really like disgusting comment, there will be, or like some really like sexual comment, like, "Ooh, I love your boobs, BB." There will be like 7 to 10 other guys just like completely fucking pissed off by it, like infuriated. And it's almost like the response that I get from showing cleavage or whatever is, it's way more of a negative response from males than like a positive, like, "Oh, you're so sexy, baby." It's more like, "Oh, you're a slut. You need to cover up your tits," which I think is kind of funny because people just have that all wrong. It's more negative attention than positive attention I get from it.
Yeah, which is, again, I don't understand it. I don't understand. I think a lot of young guys are trapped in this like fucking dichotomy, right? That we want to, we want to see it, but we
not in gaming.
Yeah, right.
No, in gaming, in video games, but not by the girls who play them.
Yeah.
Right.
What the fuck
know.
Is that? That's so surreal to me. I just don't understand it, because it's like, look, I wouldn't. It's okay. Imagine you have a job, and you go to work and you see someone dressed, and women wear clothes that accentuate their figures in the workplace.
Right.
Of course, it happens, right? And again, it's got to be within guidelines.
Like, there's some
Twitch.
sexy ass pantsuits that women wear,
Right?
Like,
no shit, right? I mean, I think Hillary is setting the pantsuit look quite a distance, but you wouldn't go up to them in the workplace and be like, if I didn't work with you, this would look really good. But you're just a fucking slut. You're just trying to look good at work. Fuck yeah. You wouldn't do it, right? Like, you would get fired on the spot for starters.
Right.
It's a really stupid argument. So I've never understood it. That said, obviously, and we'll transition from this. There is this idea now that women on the internet need to be infantilized. They need to be put in a safe space. Kept away from the evils and terrors of
the internet.
Of the internet. Now here's the thing. You can probably tell by the way I'm phrasing the question. I'm very much against that. I think we all can suffer. When people are anonymous, they'll say things they wouldn't ordinarily do. But is there something to that? In your experience, is the internet potentially a scary place for a young woman?
I mean, honestly, I don't think so. Whenever I first started streaming, I've been a user of the internet for a while. I've been to 4chan, I've been to Reddit and all of that. Like, I was like, I know what I'm in for. I know I'm going to be called, like the harpooning, the whale jokes, and like all of that shit. Like, I was just completely ready for it. I mean, I don't think the internet is a scary place at all. I think it's a great place.
And
I don't know, and just the idea that you should I don't like just the idea that you should keep people safe from it is just silly in general, I think. Like,
yeah, I mean, they
shelter women from the internet.
They talk about trolling now like it's literally like a hate crime or something. You know, like no, serious. Like they literally make out that trolling on the internet. I mean, you've seen all this gibberish that's coming out in the papers now, you know, about how trolling people and how it's a crime and how it ruins people's lives, and how if you're a troll, you're more likely to be a psychopath or have ties to, like, you know, racist groups, white power, all of this, you know, completely unprovable nonsense that nobody who had existed on the internet would believe for a second. And this is interesting because you yourself are kind of a bit of a troll.
I hate it whenever people say that I'm a troll. I just like hate it, but
tell me why you
I
hate
guess fair enough. I don't know. I guess because I just feel like it's so cheesy, and like at this point in time, like to people it's just like everything is trolling, you know, like I'll make like on stream, like I'll just make like a joke and people are like, oh, she's trolling, or like I'll just do something that's like not even like trolling and people will just be like, oh my god, she's trolling.
I think to qualify what I'm saying, you know, the overall kind of persona that you adopt, where, you know, for example, you might play a game and the joke for the stream is that you're being deliberately bad at the game, but pretending that you're being good at the game, right? And it's this, you know, disconnect in what you're saying to what you're doing, and that's where the comedic element lies, right? So that to me is like trolling, because there's a satirical element to what you're doing, right? You know, yeah, I agree. Just making a joke, it's like when people call jokes memes. Oh, you're just meme. Yeah, no, it's just a fucking joke, you idiot. It's a joke, right? So I do you not agree that there's a you are kind of.
No, I do agree that there's like a trolling element. I just hate it whenever people say that, because then it just turns like into like everything that I do is like me trolling, and it's not necessarily like everything I do on stream.
So tell me about that then. Tell me about the you know, idea about being a comedic figure, because we don't have many of them, you know. Like I think like one of the reasons I have always like liked what you do, because I'll be honest, the first time I ever watched you stream, I didn't get the joke.
Right.
Yeah, I wasn't in on it, and I was watching it and thinking, wow, you know, how the fuck do people watch this? And then I think I saw some. No, honestly, and then I think I saw something that was like a lot more, you know, kind of overt. It was more obvious to me, and I was like, right, now I get it. And I started talking to a few of the YouTubers and Twitch people. And like, yeah, dude, it's a fucking joke. It's a bit. And I'd never seen a comedy streamer before, somebody that existed within this idea of just wanting to entertain using comedic means. So tell me about that. Tell me about the process of creating that.
I like it most whenever people describe my stream as being like long form improv. And I know it is a lot different. There's just like a lot of pressure. Like whenever I stream, it's like a very like fast paced stream. Like usually I can only stream for like 4 hours because it's exhausting because I'm talking so much. Whereas you'll go and watch like another streamer and they'll just be like straight up like playing a game in silence, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. My stream's just a lot different. Like I want it to be like really hard hitting, and I want it to keep people's attention. And there is a lot that goes into it before the stream or behind the scenes. You know, like I try to just like I'll write down like little different things that I think is funny and like maybe do them on stream, try them out on stream. I don't know. It's just like always trying to think of the next funny thing that I can do on stream. I don't know. I guess that's like the biggest thing for me. Like at the end of the day, whenever I'm done streaming, like my initial first thing to do, like whenever I shut off my stream, is I just start like going back through in my mind, like what's the funniest thing I did on stream today? Like what was I good at? And then I'll have days where I just feel like I wasn't funny at all. And I'm just like, oh, that was an awful stream. I don't know.
Well, have you ever had a joke kind of go too far? You know, like this is a pitfall of being a comedian, especially in this day and age. You know, I'm sure you'll have seen, you know, you get standard comedians, you know, like guys like Chris Rock, Jerry Seinfeld. You know, people like this have said that they're not gonna even go to colleges anymore. There's just no point. Young people are so easily offended. that there's no point in trying to be funny, because the nature of comedy is to push boundaries and try and get into those parts where it's like it does rattle people's cage. Now, I know it doesn't take much to have a scandal in esports. You know, like people,
it doesn't.
Yeah, people just blow up and get
Right.
really irate over nothing. So have you ever had that happen to you? Like, have you ever been at the center of a huge like shitstorm for a joke you did?
Honestly, I really haven't. Like, I feel like for as dramatic as people think that I am, I really don't have a lot of stream drama going on, at least in comparison to some of the other Twitch streamers. I think like the most dramatic thing I ever did on stream is, gosh, it was probably like a year ago, and there was a stream that was, I can't remember what it was called. I think it was like Faker Live or something like that, and they were just restreaming Faker's games, and it wasn't Faker, it was just them restreaming it or something like that. And that stream eventually got banned. So I wanted to kind of like make fun of that whole thing. So I made another stream just called like Casey Tron Live on Twitch. And I was streaming League of Legends. And, you know, all of a sudden I find out that somebody's restreaming my games. And it was actually me the whole time. It was somebody else that I had restream my games. But, you know, like on stream, like I just started freaking out and getting really pissed off, like, oh my God, somebody's restreaming my games. And there were even like people donating to that stream too, and I was getting more mad. And then Twitch staff started showing up into my stream, and I was like, oh, and they eventually banned the other stream. And that, like, after they banned it, I was like, oh, is there any way I can have that back? That was actually mine. Like, I had big plans for that stream, but I didn't get it back ever. It was like wasting police resources, I guess. That's what I said. But
the Twitch police.
The Twitch police resources,
Twitch police. What do you make overall as well, you know, of this kind of, just in general, this like recreational outrage that, you know, that we get in kind of esports? You know, it seems to me that more so than ever, you know, we really do almost exist entirely on a fucking diet of drama, that it feels like if there's no drama, then esports and gaming doesn't really have a lot going on.
It's just slow. Like, it's like there always has to be something, and whenever there's not, it's just like, well, what do we talk about now?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, what's the big drama going on now? I don't even know.
See what I mean?
There's not even any. It's like, what do we talk about? There should be something coming up soon. Just a couple more weeks.
But I mean, do you think people sort of manufacture that drama? You know, like, again, I'll use Sky as an example because he won't mind. First of all, he loves to be talked about, and second
with
of all,
the whole video thing.
Yeah, second of all, he wants to marry me and has made formal proposals.
Has he?
Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing, honestly. But you know, look, I've said this sometimes. Sometimes I think Sky, for example, has like tried to stir up a drama in the absence of there being anything else interesting, you know, and he might deny that and think that's unfair. But I think it's actually a business model. I look at these YouTubers and the shit they get into. You got YouTubers talking about, you know, fucking groupies when people know it's going to go over. You got YouTubers taking photos of like their exorbitant lifestyle. You got YouTubers meeting other YouTubers to have fights, like YouTube, and then you fucking find out it was fake. That God, what the fuck is going on? Like,
I mean, I think that there definitely is like manufactured drama on Twitch for sure, just because of like you know, some of the stuff that goes on, you know, like with Wreckful and Mitch Jones, they just gotten some big, I don't even know what it was over, but it does seem very manufactured. And I don't know, maybe it's not even so much that they do it consciously as much as they do it subconsciously, because they're just always ready to like have something next to entertain with, you know. But
And you know, I understand it, because obviously it's a click-driven business. But I still wish that what we could do is create better content, you know, because I see the same type of content over and over and over and over again. Everything on YouTube is so like just carbon copy, cookie cutter, right? Like
all of the YouTube like news stories, like all of the YouTube news channels and everything.
Yeah, like
that's something.
Sorry, go on.
That's something that I get like kind of passionate about. I feel like I agree. I feel like there isn't enough content creation like on Twitch and on YouTube. And I think like especially on Twitch, with the way streamers have just like gotten is like, you know, like obviously the end goal is always to make more money. And I feel like, especially on Twitch, a lot of it has just gotten to where it's like, okay, what's the next gimmicky thing I can get my viewers to donate me more money versus how can I entertain my viewers to get them to want to give me money, which is something that I've always felt really passionate about. Like at the end of the day, I want to know that I like gave my viewers a good show and I wasn't like, oh, you know, if you donate $5 to me, I'll put your name up on a wall or I'll play your YouTube video for 50 seconds or whatever. Like I want people to donate to me because they like my content, or I always say continent. That's a Casey Tron thing. Because they like my content rather than me doing some stupid gimmicky donation thing. And I think, I really think that a lot of like the Twitch alerts and like the donations and the subtrains and like a lot of that has kind of led away from content creation because streamers don't have to try as hard. They can just put up a new notification or play somebody else's YouTube videos for money.
Yeah, and we've seen people kind of manufacture and synthesize that. You know, like I do hate this idea of like when I used to work in sales, there was a very easy way to get people to buy, and that was to have somebody fake come in and express interest in front of them. It breaks down a psychological barrier, you know,
the herd
like,
mentality. Yeah, like
right?
somebody
like,
will start donating and then more people will, and yeah.
And you see it, you know, and this is why, for example, with Phantom Lord, and I know we're gonna
the fake subs.
Yeah, right.
And that goes on probably more on Twitch than what people realize, like fake donations, fake subs to try to get like that going.
Well, let's explore this then. I mean, you know, I've seen there's lots of gaming the system here. Fake subs, you know, fake donations, right? I heard about two CS streamers who I won't name. And what they did was they had an agreement between each other to basically use dummy accounts to sort of bid on each other's streams and try and get like one up going on the donations. Oh,
like the top donation stuff. Yeah. And just like a lot of the language that streamers use whenever like they'll have like a top donator, like I'll hear streamers be like, oh, nobody's going to top that. And it's like they do it intentionally. And I think it's really scummy. I really do. Like, I don't want my viewers to feel like in order to get my attention or in order for me to appreciate them, they have to be like the top donator on my stream. You know, like $500 is a lot of money to some people. It's a little bit of money to others. You know, like maybe somebody donated me $5, but maybe that's like a lot of money to them. Yeah. And I don't want to undersell that because it wasn't enough. Like that's still great. Like I don't want to make my viewers feel inadequate because they can't donate me tons of money.
And the amount of
I feel like a lot of streamers do that. Like I feel like the greed on Twitch is just like unreal to me sometimes, and I just get really thrown off by it.
Well, I mean, give me you don't have to name names, but just, you know, give me some examples, because, you know, I've observed a few things, and I will name names and I will give examples. But certainly what I see in streaming and YouTube culture is I see two things. I see what you're talking about, which is the reduction of the viewer to a number, which basically generates me a baseline income, right? Like you are you are not a human being. We're not really interacting. You are a means to line my pocket. And then what the other thing I see that's really unethical is endorsing products which are absolute garbage, which are actually inarguably, objectively
G2A.
bad. Yeah, G2A, you know, What the Fast. You know, these are, you know, I sorry if you've worked with any of these companies, by the way.
I haven't.
I didn't think you would have. I thought this is safe territory.
I just think like streamers need to be like a lot more aware of what they are promoting. They just need to be a lot more aware of the companies that they're promoting and what they're promoting. Just as a morality thing to their viewers. Like they owe their viewers that, you know, like streamers live basically off of their viewers. So why would they go and knowingly promote a dishonest company to them? Like they owe their viewers more than that, is really what I think is really all it comes down to.
You ever left a big pile of cash on the table to not promote a product? I know I have, so you must
Yeah.
have, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk about it?
I mean, to me, it's like there was one stream that I did, and it was after the text-to-speech donations came out. And, you know, people were going wild over those, and people were mad because I wouldn't do text-to-speech donations because I just felt like they interrupted me too much. Like, I would be in the middle of doing one of my bits and, like, it would interrupt me, so I wouldn't do it. And I hadn't even really tried it. I just knew that it would interrupt me. And there was, like, after a while, I started getting really frustrated just with how, like, the lack of streamers even having to try with the text-to-speech donations. And there was one stream I did where I literally didn't say anything. I just turned on text-to-speech donations and just had them rolling for, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. And at the end of the 2 hours, I pulled over my Twitch alerts, which showed, you know, how much money I had made. And I had made $700 in 2 hours. I hadn't said a word on stream, just text-to-speech donations and me playing League of Legends in silence. And, like, I looked at it and I was like, $700. And I was like, I don't fucking want this money. I was like, I don't want it. And I donated it to charity on stream. I was like, I don't know. I guess that, like, sounds like I'm, like, bragging or whatever.
Yeah, Mother Teresa or something.
It's just like, it's money I'm leaving on the table, but it's like, I don't want it, you know? Like, I'm better than that. I don't want that money.
No, I get it, right? Like, and I think that's also important as well, you know, like, to understand, like, what your brand is, right? Like, what you actually like, and what a lot of YouTubers and streamers, I think they think they have a brand, you know, because they do a funny voice, right? And they're wacky, and, you know, they've got a particular style. That's not a brand. That's part of it, but it's not the entirety. You know, like, one of the reasons, you know, I have to tread very carefully is because, you know, I break a lot of these stories, and I actively attack people based on them not adhering to ethics or not showing integrity, right? So
which is a hard thing to do. Like, I've been dabbling around with my gaming news segments, and it is hard calling out your peers like that. Like, it's not something that you want to do, but I'm like, somebody has to do it, I guess.
Yeah, and there's no money in it. There's literally no money in it, because even if people want to sponsor ethics and integrity, they can't, because by definition, once you do that, ethics and integrity could be compromised. And I've always had to walk, like, a very close line. It was even intimated to me that if I wanted to be a journalist, you know, I couldn't host independent events, because if I ever had to write about DreamHack, and I'm hosting DreamHack, and DreamHack employ me 6 times a year, you know, obviously there's a business interest there. So how can I be trusted to be objective? And I that argument's actually good. I agree with it. You know, so it's tough. It really is. And like I say, I think a lot of YouTubers, what they do is they're like, yeah, it's me, everybody. I'm talking like this. Just being a fucking idiot, right? And that's like, oh, I've got a brand. But they just sell out for, like, whatever it is. Like, oh, which piece of shit shady company wants to give me money today? They take it, and then they don't factor in, well, actually, no, I want to stand for these things as part of my brand. And they don't do it. And they always use the same excuse to justify it as well. There's no money
on the table.
There's no money in this. There's no money in this.
And they act like, oh, well, I have to make money too. This is a business. And, like, I know what I make. And that's one of the things that got me really infuriated about the whole Dingle Derper thing.
Yeah.
Bringing that up. She had started a Patreon, and she wanted to raise $5,000 a month. And, like, to me, I was just like, that's fucking ridiculous. Like, I know what I make, and honestly, like, I don't even push my donations. Like, I don't push donations. I don't push subscribers or anything like that. And I make a good living not doing that. And, like, just knowing what she probably already makes, and then for her to go around and make another Patreon acting like she needed more money, like, is just, I don't know.
What triggered me the most about her Patreon was the line in it, every little helps, you know, every little helps, as if she was eking out an existence.
Right.
You know?
Right. And, like, a lot of streamers, I feel like there are a lot of streamers who want to act like that. And, like, I know, and you know, that's not the case.
That's bullshit.
It is. It's bullshit.
So, let's talk about the Dingle Derp and Phantom Lord thing. You and Dingle Derp, I don't know, would you ever describe yourself as friends or colleagues? Did you ever have a good relationship there, or was she just someone you kind of knew, through work?
It was just, like she was one of my peers streaming. I wouldn't say she was like really a friend or anything like that. And early on, whenever I started getting big on League, she was one of the females that kind of attacked me and is like, oh, she just gets viewers because of her breasts, da 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 da, and like kind of had like made fun of it.
She posed for Playboy.
Right. And yeah.
And she sells photos of herself through her Patreon.
Right. Yeah, and she like had kind of criticized me early on for being a booby streamer, and that was really my only experience with her. And then she started dating Phantom Lord and, started getting some viewers from him. And then the whole Phantom Lord scandal happened. So,
Well, one of the things that I really liked as well was you were very vocal about that. And again, people will notice not a lot of streamers were still, even now, respectable,
which was frustrating.
Yeah, right.
It was. Whenever I was one of the people because I was really upset by it, because I love this community and I want to see this community do well, and then just for somebody to put so much so much negativity on the community and just make the gaming community overall just look so corrupted, it just it angered me. And there weren't a lot of streamers who were vocal about it or who were vocally upset about it. And I don't know if it was because they were friends with them, because I think a lot of them were. I've always kind of been like an outcast on Twitch. I feel like I don't really have a lot of other streamers that I socialize with or anything like that. Maybe more or less because I'm kind of antisocial. But I was frustrated at the lack of other streamers who were upset by it and calling it out. And honestly, whenever I really thought about it, I was like, you know what? They're not, because they know they're in the same boat as him. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, and the news channels, and God, it blows my mind, right? That this has been, for me, one of the stories of 2016. Not just the whole gambling thing, specifically the Phantom Lord case, specifically what happened there. This was the most egregious example of exploiting a fan base, of exploiting the lack of regulation around gambling that I've seen, and I think people should still be talking about this. I'm surprised that it hasn't really been.
I'm surprised that it hasn't been covered by really big news stations, just the corruption that's been going on in gaming.
Yeah. It hasn't, though, and this is what's really interesting. Meanwhile, I pick up a gaming publication, and they're talking about trolls. Right, again, we're back to that shit, and they're not talking about people that inarguably engaged in these activities to basically, defraud people of money. It's unbelievable. I told the mainstream gaming press, hit me up. Everyone could come and get these Phantom Lord logs. I gave them to you. Anybody who wanted to report on it in a responsible way was entitled to the logs.
Right.
I didn't get contacted by anyone. And interestingly enough, the few publications that did touch upon it, they didn't want to mention me at all, as if I'd done nothing. And it was very weird. I think that boils down to the politics and me having worked for Breitbart. I think, apparently I'm a conservative or an alt-right guy. It's not true, but that's where I've been pigeonholed. And they just didn't want to cover this story. And I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that it really didn't blow up. And even the YouTube news sources, it's it looks like Phantom Lord did this, but I guess we'll see.
How all the YouTube news channels are, just very vague, reading off a tweet.
And the best has got to be Scarce. Now, I cooperate with Scarce on this story, but I'll call him out for this. The amount of times it's his story is, Party X did this, but I called them up on Skype and they said it wasn't true. So that's the end of that chat. Are you a fucking news channel or a PR guy? What are you? Do you want to do investigative work? And it's incredible to me that this guy basically has 2.5 million followers and everyone's like, this guy does real news. Well, he doesn't, unfortunately. It's a very, he might be a watered down Keemstar, but that is what it is. And I love Keem. and I talked to Keem. And I wouldn't consider him to be the definitive source of news or an entirely unbiased source of news. I think full objectivity is very hard to get. But like these people don't want to turn on their own. They literally don't want to turn on their own because they're worried about what might happen to their.
And I get it. It is hard to. It is, but I don't know.
Someone's got to stand for something, Kate.
Someone has to. And that was whenever I was one of the few streamers who kind of blasted Phantom Lord and Dingle Derper, I was like, is it really Caseytron? Does it really have to be Caseytron? That's the voice of the people right now. I'm like, really?
Well, I think I think a lot of people noticed it, and I think it was very well received. And I did particularly like what you did with the news report, actually. First of all, ridiculous introduction. I love a bit of that.
I always get a lot of comments on the news intro, but I worked really hard on that. Okay, in Adobe After Effects, and that took hours. I worked really hard on it, so it's gonna keep on going.
Yeah, it's so good. You think it's gonna end, and then it comes back. I mean, it's just so funny to watch that. But then, I actually thought there was parts you highlighted different parts of the logs to me. And you did touch on some very interesting points. So I guess the next question would be, in an absence of decent YouTube and Twitch streaming news channels, is that something you think you could transition to, maybe put the comedy to one side and actually start doing some serious reporting, build on what you've touched upon with the Dingle Derper and Phantom Lord stuff?
That's something that I've been really working towards with gaming news, because I've been doing gaming news for a while now, and it used to be just very vague gaming news. It was just kind of getting myself ready for it, slowly segueing into it, and I feel like I'm getting there. I would love to have a YouTube channel like that where I do news in more of a comedic way. I've been having a lot of fun with it lately.
And I definitely think there's some room for it, and we need people that they don't mind actually calling out these people for what they are. Destiny would also be a good choice as well. I have no idea.
I love Destiny.
Yeah, same. I have no idea what Steven does these days, though. He literally seems to spend his time laboring under the delusion he's talking to Donald Trump on Twitter. That seems to be what he's doing these days, right?
Yeah, very political.
Yeah, but obviously that's just some fucking intern.
Yeah.
As if Donald Trump would answer anyway. Yeah, crazy.
Oh, did Donald Trump actually respond to one of his tweets?
Oh, never. It's never gonna happen.
I was like,
never gonna happen. So look, let's talk a little bit about some other stuff that's going on. The PayPal thing I thought was interesting. You don't think this is interesting, but I do think this is interesting. You had a bit of a snafu in regards to your PayPal account, right? Which is you were getting donations and obviously running a lot of money through PayPal, as a lot of streamers do.
Right.
And it's the go-to service for a lot of online transactions. I use it. I'm sure everybody at some point has used PayPal. And they just shut your account down.
Well, what had happened was I had gotten targeted by someone, and they were donating to me under stolen PayPal accounts. I don't know how they got the accounts, and it wasn't like I was like, oh, I want this money and I'm going to keep it or anything like that. But I was streaming, and all of a sudden I just got donation after donation after donation. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm like, how do I get it to stop? Because, it's even whenever I went offline, they had kept donating to me. And all of these transactions started to get refunded by the actual people. And then PayPal, caught wind of it, and they shut down my account. And, that was scary to me because, like you said, PayPal is used for so much stuff. I'm like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do now? And they said that they had banned me, permanently because of all of the, what do they call it? All of the chargebacks on my accounts and how there was a high ratio of them. And I was like, well, I've been doing this for years. Last month I had, 5 chargebacks. The month before that I had 2 or 3 chargebacks. And then all of a sudden I'm hit with 200 chargebacks. That's not my fault. And, I had tried to explain it to whenever you're dealing with customer service like that, it's like you just have to keep on working your way up to the manager. And, the manager was really nice and he tried to help me and he was like, I understand your situation. But the way they made it sound to me is the process that PayPal uses to ban people is so automated, even like an actual human has a hard time getting around to it. And, like at this point I'm freaking out and like I just tried to call customer service and get it handled the normal way. And I was like, well, I guess what am I going to do now? I'm going to use my influence, I guess, which I don't like to do. So I started tweeting at PayPal and I asked my viewers to, like help and stuff like that. And then eventually someone higher up at PayPal called me and I had explained the situation to them and they just gave me my account back pretty much. But yeah, it was scary. It went on for like 2 weeks.
But I mean,
at the time, like they had froze all of my money that was in PayPal.
Yeah, that you wouldn't have got that back.
I would have gotten it back after it was like 6 months.
What the fuck?
They were going to hold the funds for 6 months, to make sure that they weren't going to be like refunded or anything like that. But they wanted to hold on to it for 6 months, which was just really like, wow, like really 6 months, like maybe 60 days, but 6 months, that's like a lot of time. And then, like in that 6 month period where they like pretty much own my money, they're reinvesting it and making more money off of my money, which is why they do stuff like that, I'm pretty sure. But
let's talk about games, right? We haven't even really touched upon that yet. Now, you're described everywhere on the internet as being a League of Legends player, a League of Legends streamer. That seems to be where the notoriety has come from.
Right.
One of the things I hate is the way that League of Legends has kind of had this symbiotic relationship with streamers, because I know many streamers just don't enjoy playing the game or making content around the game, and they don't like the community. And they labor through and they push through because it just gives you sheer volume of numbers.
Right.
Do you actually enjoy League of Legends? Like, what kind of games are you really into right now?
God, honestly, and I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. I'm having a hard time finding any games that I enjoy right now, honestly. Which like really sucks to say, especially whenever you stream games for a living, because it just becomes really hard to try to find a game to play that you want to play. It's like anymore, I just feel like I would rather just sit and bullshit around with my viewers in chat. Like that's what I've been feeling like lately. I go through phases of enjoying League and phases of not. It's been a while since I've had a phase where I enjoyed League. I started playing League a little bit more again recently. And honestly, the reason why I've been playing it recently is because I feel like it's easier for me to talk to my chat while I'm playing it.
Yeah, not very mentally intense. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like that's where I can be the most entertaining, is talking to my chat. Like, I feel like I can be a lot more responsive and different things like that. And then the wait queues, like I can bullshit around during the wait queues and, like go look at Reddit articles and talk about that and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I'm going to play World of Warcraft today.
Oh, really?
I started like kind of leveling my account yesterday, or, like getting my add-ons ready and all of my keybinds set up and all of that shit. And I'm going to play that on stream today. And I'm like, we'll see how that goes.
And will this be serious playing, or will this be?
I'll be having fun.
Okay, good. I think it's interesting you talk about the League of Legends game is a good conduit to be able to interact with your stream more. I mean, I obviously loathe that community. I find them to be they're a bunch of teenagers with too much money, not enough sense. And they seem to get stirred up very easily because the game they play has created a virtual safe space and the elimination of toxicity. They're very entitled. They believe that, first of all, their opinion matters. It doesn't. They believe it absolutely doesn't. One of the great lies you can ever tell anybody is that your opinion is as important as somebody else's actually might not be true. You know, it depends. Context is very important on that. You're not just entitled to an opinion that people have to listen to it. And the League of Legends community embody that idea that you must hear what I have to say. It's
right.
Like, no, I fucking don't at all.
Right.
And then on top of that, they also believe they have to be protected from anything they don't like, which is it could be a foul language aimed at them, which is fair enough. It can be people not playing in their game in a way they approve of.
Right.
But it can also be like what I do. Like I write about, Alex Ich is leaving this team. Alex Ich is my favorite player. He would never leave that team. And they just have a fucking tantrum about it, right? It's like, what the fuck is wrong with your brain? Like, what is wrong with your brain? So I this is why everyone hates the League of Legends community, and streamers literally just use it for numbers. So you might enjoy playing it, but this is interesting. I've got a petition here, Casey.
I
have a petition. And I remember I've seen numerous threads on Reddit and everywhere else, people screaming out, Riot, why won't you ban her? Ban her. Yeah. She ruins games. I've had my
fair share of run-ins with the League community.
It's ridiculous. Ban her. Ban her.
Yeah.
Right, but look at this. In fact, fuck it. I don't know if you've seen this. I'll put it in our little Skype chat for you. And you might.
Is it the petition to get me banned?
Yeah, a change petition. This is unreal.
That's been going around for years now. It has. That's been going around for years. How many signatures is it at?
22,611.
Yeah, I've seen that one's been hanging over my head for a while. Luckily, they haven't been able to take me down yet. But whenever.
Look at the description. Casey Tron is a toxic troll player who intentionally feeds all game and needs to be IP banned. You can receive proof at her stream here. Actually, hang on a minute. You did this. Did you? Is this your work? Is this like a PsyOps double agent?
No, that's somebody else's petition. That's not mine.
I just dawned on me there. It's like, hey, you can watch her stream here. I thought that's fucking smart. That's clever.
Yeah, that is good for me, which is, like stuff like that is the reason why I first started getting popular. Right. So thank you to whoever did that petition. But whenever I first started playing League, like I had never played League before. And before that, I was playing World of Warcraft mainly. And I got to the point under World of Warcraft where I was like averaging, I think, between like maybe 600 and 1,000 viewers. And around that time is whenever World of Warcraft started dying. And a lot of my viewers were like, oh, Casey, play League, play League, play League. And I was like, okay. So I download League and I play League and I just fucking like blow up. Like my first time ever playing it. Like I was completely new to the game. I was playing against bots. And people are just like losing their fucking mind, which is like part of the thing that was so fun about streaming under League of Legends to me in the first place was just how fucking seriously they take everything in that fucking game. Like it made it so easy to troll them. So easy. It made it they made it so easy for me. They really did.
Well, the word easy is a trigger. You get banned for that, if you type at the end of a game, GG easy, that's a ban. You get banned for that.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It's considered unsafe talk. It's abusive to say GG easy.
The funny thing is, like, people, whenever I first started playing League, I had my bad games. And, I did try to the best of my ability. And a lot of them, maybe some more than others. But people would just be like, why isn't she banned yet? Why isn't she banned yet? And I never got banned because the people in my games never reported me.
Yeah.
Like, is really all it came down to. And people just, like, lost their fucking minds over it. And I was playing in, like, Bronze 5 at the time. And it was, like, the people in my games that would end up in Casey Tron's games. And I'd be like, oh, and they'd be like, oh, my God, I'm on stream. They fucking loved it. They didn't report me. They fucking loved it. And a lot of the time I would even gift a lot of them skins, like, after games. And, some of the games we even won. Like, but
it's just that, look, Bronze 5, that's, if you've got any aspirations of taking the game seriously in Bronze 5, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say to you to bring you back to reality. Like, you are in the lowest rung, of a ladder made of shit, and you one game will not dictate whether or not you stay there forever. Just deal with it, you know? Like, it's the lowest of the fucking low. If you can't climb out of that, then fuck you, right? Like, even with one troll game, you know, it's
right.
I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Like, really, a lot of the time, like I was saying, like, a lot of them, you know, they knew they were bad. And, like, playing with Casey Tron, like, when are they ever going to get to play with another streamer? All of the other streamers, like, played Diamond. They're like, oh, my God, it's finally my chance to play League of Legends with a streamer on Twitch, you know? There were maybe, like, I don't know, like, a handful of occasions that people actually did get like really mad and felt like I trolled their game or threw their game because they were trying to get promoted or whatever. And I don't know, like, it's like, do I feel bad about it? No, not really. Shit happens. It's just a game, you know?
And look, I think had you been a bit further up the competitive ladder, you know, I might be inclined to counter that argument. I just think in Bronze 5, I just can't believe, like, I honestly don't, if anyone takes it seriously in Bronze 5, they're going to have a very bad life. Like, the rest of their life is going to suck.
Honestly, like, after my first few weeks of playing, whenever I really started playing ranked, I had somebody in my games that was carrying me. So, like, a lot of those games we even, like, won, honestly. Like,
so I think there's a big part, like, the League of Legends community more than ever likes to just go after people. It just loves it. It lives for it.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And the one difference, I would say, between the Dota 2 community, which is, you know, the Dota 2 community are a bunch of assholes for different reasons. But the one thing they actually do that I kind of admire is that they don't get mired and bogged down in the drama. They're not, you know, they generally ignore it. They say, hey, look, if we just ignore these people, they'll go away. Fuck them. You know, and they put their head in the sand. When players have been caught using racist language, and again, they say, so what? Doesn't impact on their ability to play. This is just manufactured drama. If that was the League of Legends community, they want it all. They want it all.
Right.
They want
heads to roll.
Yeah, they want you banned. Right, they want you banned off Twitch.
Right.
They want you banned from the game. They want you to lose everything on the ground that it's like somehow karmically okay. And they are fucking disgusting. Like, did you see what happened with you know, Nicole Slaw?
Oh yeah.
With the cats.
Yes.
Now look,
I have strong feelings towards that, and
good. Give me your strong feelings. I love strong feelings.
I mean, honestly, like, I feel like if it were the same situation, like, I honestly feel like if it were the same situation and it had been a popular male streamer who did something similar to one of their dogs, I really feel, or cats, they wouldn't have gotten banned.
Absolutely.
Like, I really feel like Twitch banned her because the community wanted it, and the community, and they knew the community wouldn't let up until she was banned. And, like, I know Nicole Slaw, and I think she's a great person. You know, people give her a lot of shit, and they're like, oh, she's a titty streamer, gold digger whore. But she's a very genuine person. She's very genuine to her fan base. She still gets in Discord regularly with her fan base and just talks to them, like, all the time. She spends so much time with her fan base, which I really admire. I wish I could do that more like she does. And then I just felt so bad for her, being an animal lover myself and, like, having animals. Like, I know she loves her animals. Like, she's kind of an animal hoarder, but she has, I think it's 2 cats and 3 dogs or something like that. And she loves them all. And you can tell that she spoils them all. And it really wasn't meant to be like some awful, like, she didn't mean to do that.
Slightly roughly handled her cat, and this was presented that she tried to choke her cat to death on stream.
Right.
That is literally what the League of Legends community was saying.
Right.
It's unbelievable. And this is where it gets worse, right? Keep in mind, one of the principal rules of that subreddit is no witch hunting. But what it really should say is no witch hunting unless we kind of agree with it, because the moderators will allow a witch hunt. I get fucked all the time from witch. That happens every time.
Oh, I know, I did.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and you as well, right? Ban Casey Tron. Didn't see those threads getting deleted because they obviously agree. They obviously think we're fair game, right? Because they're fucking disgusting human beings, the people who moderate that subreddit. And they allowed that post to stay up there deliberately for, like, I don't know, 14 hours or whatever it was. The #1 trending post on the subreddit that was one of the busiest on Reddit as a whole. And there was a Riot staff member in there, right? And the Riot staff member said, I will talk to the right people and make sure action is taken, basically alluding to the fact that he would talk to Twitch and get her stream banned.
Right. And honestly,
What's
like
that?
I love Twitch and I love the staff who works at Twitch, and I really don't think it's like Twitch's fault. I just feel like they felt pressured to have to do something and they just went with it, which, you know, like I can't really criticize too much. Like I think they were trying to save face for themselves, but I really truly honestly believe if it had been a popular male streamer,
it wouldn't have, nothing would have happened at
nothing.
all.
Yeah.
We see Twitch bend the rules all the time depending on who it is, and this is the thing for me. They didn't even just give her a temporary ban. They literally took everything from her.
And I honestly don't think she had ever even had a temporary ban before that.
She'd had no,
you know, and then you have other streamers who will have temporary ban after temporary ban, like doing the same things. I do feel like Twitch has gotten a lot more consistent with the way that they've been handling their bans, because I feel like that was something the community was upset about for a while. And I feel like they are getting there, but there definitely have been a lot of inconsistencies with it.
Yeah. And I think the worst thing about it is just that some of the things that are going on, like, really cut to the core of what we do here. You know, we had Twitch, like, for example, I've got logs that show Twitch were basically saying a Phantom Lord during the big most highest ever pop giveaway on Twitch thing. They were saying, when we need more gameplay, and it's a mod chat log on Phantom Lord saying fucking Twitch, trying to cut into my fucking insatiable greed, being an asshole. And Twitch were being very soft with him. They weren't saying we're going to ban your stream. They were saying, we need you to have more gameplay here. They temporarily banned him before the sub train started to facilitate him getting that sub train.
Right, I heard about that.
And I commend Twitch for taking action and permanently banning him. But they were very touchy, feely, softly prior to that. And the thing is, once you start bending the rules for people that on the ground that they're important, those people start believing everyone's going to
that they're above the law. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And I've seen it time and time again. You know, I have huge concerns about the process right now where, take Tyler1, for example. Tyler1, toxic in game. If he doesn't get Draven, he takes Teemo and he trolls and he feeds. And he does this in high elo, people.
See, I will say I never did anything like that. Like, I was just genuinely bad at the game. Like, It wasn't like I honestly never intentionally.
Yeah, the absence of not trying isn't the same as deliberately sabotaging a game. Right. And, so Tyler1 has been told, not banned by Twitch, and he's getting more and more popular. But he was told he can never play League of Legends again on stream or they will ban him. Now
he's playing League of Legends now.
Yeah, right. And that's
I never really understood what happened with that whole thing, because I thought he was permanently banned from League of Legends, and I'm like, I guess he isn't.
Yeah, he makes these stealth accounts, and then when it gets tracked down, they get banned again. I don't know if Twitch have said to him they're going to enforce the ban. But he was warned at the time. He said this on a stream that he was told if he streamed League of Legends again, he would get permanently banned. And we've seen this with a few other instances where it's like Riot Games have look at Gross Score. Gross Score is a fucking shambles. Like, he's an absolute omni shambles. He's still one of my favorite streaming personalities. But
I can't remember what happened to him again. Why did
he said something a bit fishy about Crepo, who works for Riot. He said
that's
something,
right. Okay, yeah.
Which I won't repeat.
I know what you're talking about now. I was trying to remember.
But he made an allegation, and it was a silly allegation. Wasn't even necessarily illegal, by the way. A lot of people assumed it was illegal. Wouldn't have been illegal in the country where Crepo resided. So but whatever. That's the minutia. And on the basis of that careless slip of the tongue, he lost everything, and this was very much predicated on Riot Games being outraged about it and having it. And this is what I mean. I start to worry when developers can dictate to the leading broadcaster in the industry, these guys are okay, these guys can stream, these guys can't.
Right.
I don't like that. I think that's a very worrying trend for me.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was a time where, like, being banned was like a very, like, real thing to me. Like, I was like, I could be banned. I actually had my sub button taken away. And whenever they took away my sub button, which was whenever I was like still a smaller streamer, it's like whenever they did it, it's like they didn't really have any real reason to. The reason why they did in the end was, or what they said was, because I had some racist donation messages, you know, and you know how they do. Like, it happens to everyone. Like, it pops up and you like take it off. You know, they took away my sub button for that, and I didn't have a sub button for 6 months. And like during that 6 months, you know, I'm like, oh God, could I be banned? Like, I don't know. And I never honestly like I feel like, as much as people are like, oh, Casey Trends should be banned, Casey Trends should be banned, like, I really have never really violated the Twitch terms of service. Like, really.
The like, idea that you should be responsible for, like, you know, what your kind of followers might do, you know, like, I don't understand that. Like, if I put, you know, a donation on and people can donate and it can say ridiculous things, don't bring that shit to me. That's not my fucking problem, frankly.
I think as long as there's, like, you know, you're showing that you're trying to prevent it from happening and taking all the preventative measures. But at the time, there wasn't, like, the word filters and stuff like that for donations. And,
True.
But that's why they ended up taking my sub button. And
that's so ridiculous, though, because you can look at the username of the donator and just ban them.
Right.
Not you. I mean, Twitch, right? If they care so much about it. Why?
Right.
Taking away.
Why put all of the responsibility on the streamer?
Yeah,
I forgive Twitch. If Twitch staff is watching this right now, I forgive you.
I'm sure they'll be grateful. And also, just as a point of information, Sam, obviously, he didn't want to interrupt you, Casey. Sam's a bit starstruck, I think. He's a very big fan. He apparently, what Tyler One does now is he doesn't actually play the game himself. He coaches people on stream. And that's what he does. So he watches them play and tells them how to get better. So he's still got an involvement with League of Legends. He can still file it under a League of Legends stream, but technically he's not breaking the terms of the agreement. So that's quite clever. Tyler One, deceptively smart, right? He might look like a fucking meathead. And me and Sam watched a stream the other day where somehow, I don't even know how he did it, Sam. He got tangled up in a cable, tangled up in his dog, and the dog ran away and it pulled his monitor off and everything. It was like,
I think I saw the clip of that.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So look, I want to get serious for a while.
Okay.
Let's move into some serious territory. You talked publicly in the past. I got an interview that you did a while back. Say a while back. I think it was February 2015. Where you actually talked about depression.
Oh.
Yeah, and you said that you had the way you framed it was this. I'll just read you your quote. I think we all battle depression from time to time. I like to think that underneath it all, we're all fighting the same fight, trying to find a sense of purpose and belonging in a crazy world. Streaming has given me a sense of purpose and belonging. I may not be curing cancer, but bringing happiness to someone's day and making them laugh is good enough for me. And I do talk a lot about mental health in gaming, and it seems to have more of a stigma in the gaming community than it does anywhere else. That I don't really know why that is, but I know lots of people who, I think because it's an industry where maybe you're surrounded by children and people don't want to appear that they might be unstable or emotionally erratic in any way. People don't want to talk about it. So I just wanted to get some thoughts about that as someone who had kind of talked about it in the past.
Well, whenever I first started streaming, like, honestly, I was going through a really hard time. Like, I was, like, I was young and I had moved out and I was, like, struggling financially. You know, I had, like, a ton of credit card debt that I had racked up, and it was, like, all I did all the time was work. Like, I would just, like, work, and then I would come home and play World of Warcraft, and it's just, like, what am I living for? And then I was like, I need a hobby. Like, I need something to do. So I decided to start streaming. And, you know, like, back then, like, I still do struggle with depression from time to time. But back then, like, whenever I first started streaming, like, one of my first thoughts was, I don't want to, like, go on stream and, like, be all mopey and be, like, you know, depressed acting, because my viewers are going through things too. You know, I want to bring happiness to them. I don't want to bring them down. I want to like bring them up, and I don't want to make people like feel sorry for me or anything like that. I don't know. What was the question again?
Well, I know, like, I mean, why? I guess why do you feel people feel like they can't talk about it? Why it is people struggle with it? You know, I remember me and Anders, we did an interview where we just talked openly. You know, I fucking battled depression. I'd be lying if I said even now, like, I'm in the best financial shape I've been in my life. You know, I'm on a TV show.
Right.
You know, I'm doing well for myself. I've got a very good standard of living.
Right.
You know, the thought still pops in there. You know, like just from time to time, like.
Right. And I guess I guess for me, that's the biggest reason why. Like, I just feel so incredibly lucky. Like, the last thing I want to do is like go on stream to my viewer base who sees me, you know, like I get to go on stream and have fun and make good money and play games for a living. Like, I'm not going to go on stream to them and be like, you know, I'm depressed whenever they are probably facing a lot worse. I don't know. And that's the whole thing with depression too. It's like, who's to say like what's worse or who's struggling more? You know, we all come from different backgrounds. Maybe something that would be really easy for somebody else to handle is really hard for another person. And, you know, that's just, I don't know. Like,
how do you juggle then when you have those thoughts with what you do for a living? Because you used to, I don't know if you still do actually, I'll have a look, but you used to describe yourself as a human punchbag. That literally used to be on your Twitter bio. It's not now. It's best streamer on Twitch television.
Yeah, I did used to have, I don't know. And I guess that was just like kind of a joke because...
But I mean, it was effectively, there was a lot of truth to it because the nature of the entertainment you did was if somebody got the joke, it was brilliant. But unfortunately, with so many morons out there, a lot of people didn't get the joke. And I'll be honest, you know, at first, like I must have just watched 5-10 minutes and I was like, what the fuck is this? And turned it off. And then, as I said, I had to get it. So obviously not just morons, but people who were like watching in passing maybe don't get the joke, and maybe they feel they need to articulate their disapproval. And sometimes that can go to very extreme levels, you know. So how do you reconcile being a lightning rod for that kind of hate and also sort of dealing with, you know, with any mental health issues that you might be dealing with?
Like, how do I handle like all of that emotionally? Honestly, like, that stuff really doesn't bother me. Like, being called like ugly or a slut or stupid or fat, like, that doesn't bother me because I know like I'm not. You know, what gets me the most that people will say to me that just really makes me feel like, and like, I feel like saying this on your show, I'm like, shit, you know, like, I don't want to give it away. Like, what bothers me most that people will say to me is that I'm not funny or that I'm not entertaining or that I'm being boring or like, that's what really gets me the most. Like, you can call me a slut, you can tell me to kill myself, you can tell me that you hope I get brutally murdered, but if you tell me I'm not funny, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. And that was like, the same for me. My trigger was always when people used to say, you know, you don't understand journalism. You're not a real journalist. When I used to do stand up, there would be nothing more that would throw me off than, you know, if some guy was throwing out, you know, like the abusive heckles. Love those. Give me someone to work with. It means I don't have to remember my material because I'm too fucking drunk to remember it right now anyway.
Right.
But if somebody was like, you're not funny, it's like my sets would always take like a darker turn where it would just be like the audience is my enemy. You know, and I mean, like, maybe you just don't get the fucking joke, you fucking, you know, slack-jawed fucking more, and then there would be this hostile interaction. And I agree with you. I think if you're a workaholic, if you you know, and entertainers often are, people like journalists often are, you know, if you work to a point where your work-life balance is so skewed heavily towards the work, that's what hits you. That's what hurts you. That's what you dedicate the most of your time to doing. It's what defines you.
Right. Yeah, but honestly, like, all of that other stuff, like, it rarely, you know, Destiny did say that I was ugly a few days ago. He didn't really.
No,
but
okay. I never know with Steven. I totally just believed you there.
You know, Destiny said, and I hope Destiny sees this, he said that, you know, I wasn't the most attractive booby streamer. He said that I was reasonably attractive, but that really hurt me.
Yeah, Steven is a character. About it. So look, I guess I've had you for the requisite amount of time, and I know you're busy, and obviously you've got to get geared up for your World of Warcraft stream. So yeah. I'll start wrapping it up. Okay. Just some sort of final thoughts. I definitely think you're somebody that I genuinely believe has a career in the entertainment industry. Outside of this, I think you'll kind of get there. So do you have any aspirations to do it? Are you going to be going to any sort of casting calls? Like what do you do? Like what's the next step for you whenever that step might happen?
Like a lot of that stuff is really scary for me because like as much as like I'm on camera and stuff like that, I've never been I don't like being the center of attention. Like I've never been that type of a person. Honestly, if I ever really like got into the entertainment industry, I would really like to do like behind the scenes writing more so than anything, like write out scenes and stuff like that. That's what I would like to do. I don't know about like me being in front of a camera. I don't know. That's something that I'd have to get like a little bit more comfortable with the idea of, but it's not completely out there.
Well, obviously the network I work for does Big Bang Theory. Maybe we could give you a job and you could maybe make that show funny, which would be maybe a fucking star.
I watched I don't think I've ever actually watched a full episode of The Big Bang Theory, which I'm proud of. But
the amount of people who do watch it, I want to know who they are because no one ever admits
My grandma watched it and she thought it was hilarious. I think it's a lot of, I really think they have an older audience.
Right. It's like Fox News, right?
Yeah.
But no, so like get this. So after we did the TBS show, I think it was the pilot. We rushed and expedited to get the viewing numbers, because everyone wanted to see what we were working with, how many people had tuned in for our big TBS night. I was fucking really stressed. It had been a tough time. And we got these numbers, we were looking at them and we published them. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but we felt pretty good about it. We were like, this is a great baseline to work from. I think it was like, 300 and something thousand, 380,000. And then you take all the online stuff and the digital hours.
Right.
And it was like, everyone was really happy. And then I think somebody at the meeting just said like, yeah, but last night's Big Bang Theory at 4 a.m. got 1.5 million people. Fuck. They're like, who's watching that show? I fucking hate it. So yeah.
Really, I have no idea. That's kind of mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it stole our
honestly.
Thunder. It stole our thunder. So and of course, in the more immediate future, what are you going to be doing? What's the content plan for Caseytron's stream? Are you going to do any Counter-Strike stuff?
I don't know. I might start playing some more Counter-Strike soon. I don't.
Now that
my viewers love
it
whenever I play Counter-Strike.
Now that Phantom Lord is
gone,
we need
somebody.
That's what we need.
My viewers love it whenever I play Counter-Strike. I enjoy playing Counter-Strike. I guess right now I consider myself more of like a variety streamer in a way because it's just so, like I said, I'm just not enjoying a lot of games right now. And I honestly don't feel like people are enjoying watching a lot of games right now.
Yeah.
I feel like really the streamers themselves are what are bringing in the viewers versus the actual games, which I do want to keep on growing gaming news though. Like I have an episode coming up this week that I'm really excited for.
Okay. Can you give us a sneaky peek? Preview?
It's on G2A.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Thank God you're taking up the standard.
Yeah. Just like a behind the scenes look at G2A type thing. So I'm really excited for that one.
Awesome. I'm intrigued. Oh, well, look, obviously, I wish you all the best. I hope people start to realize that you are one of the good guys. And
I think they are. I really do think they are starting to realize that. Like, I feel like I'm getting a lot more respect in the community than what I once had.
Good, and it's been a long time coming. Like I say, I've always been a big fan, and I'll always continue to support your work because you're someone with a strong moral compass, but you're also you don't take yourself too seriously, and I generally think they're the best kind of people, right? Like, people who understand ethics, but also understand fuck it, like look at what we do for a living. If you take this too seriously. If you start believing your own bullshit, you're doomed. So
right.
So it's great to see you doing well and continuing to push out content.
Thank
so
you.
there you go. And just for again, if people did want to tune in or follow you on Twitter, Sam, have we got that on the overlay?
Yeah.
It's on the overlay, right? Cool. So it's on the
Okay.
overlay, right? Good. I was just going to say plug it, but fuck that. You don't need to. So there we go. So thanks very much for your time, Casey John. Sam, thanks for pushing the buttons and making sure stuff is on the overlay. We hope you enjoyed this episode of The Richard Lewis Show. We got some more shows coming up soon. Do have one announcement to make. Everyone's favorite French cheater, Kaylee, has pulled out of an interview that he proposed on Twitter. We tried to hash it out and we wanted to make it happen. But he said he didn't feel comfortable enough with his English in whether or not he'd be able to articulate himself. And because it's such a sensitive topic, he didn't want to be misquoted or taken out of context, or perhaps have a native English speaker maybe trick him into saying something he didn't exactly mean, which I can understand, especially given all of the recreational outrage that we like to have in our community. So don't worry, we are going to have some other ones. We are going to have Uber Danger, which I'm sure is going to be an absolute stellar show. I can't wait for that one. And I'm trying to twist Destiny's arm to come on and talk about all these view botting people, because obviously Twitch has put a stop to a lot of it, and some popular streamers have suddenly decided to have holidays, which is awesome. Yeah, there you go. No names.
I was really excited whenever that happened. Honestly,
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Good old Masan. Got to love it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so there you go. So like I say, thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you on the next episode.